Hey guys, it's making make sense. I'm back. I could not end tonight without discussing this mass shooting. What's crazy to me is that they've become so normal. Like you hear about one, you feel like you've heard about them all. I think the stats are we're at 200. I think it's like 221 already for the year. 212 mass shootings already this year. 27 in schools. So it's like I don't really know. I don't know what the fix for this is. I don't. I so I first want to let you guys know what happened. Uvalde is a small community about 80 miles outside of San Antonio, Texas. So I heard that there was a shooting, but initially when I heard, they said, two people were injured. When I got off my live today, I looked and it was 21 people, 19 children in an elementary school killed. My mind was blown. I'll tell you a story a little bit later about an elementary school who was telling me about that they don't have fire drills per se. They have active shooter drills. This is crazy to me. Like absolutely crazy to me. I'm gonna drop the link. Um, Anybody is welcome to come share their thoughts on the subject. First, I'm gonna play a video kind of outlining what has happened, just in case you don't know. But my heart breaks because not only are these kids going elementary age kids have now lost friends, they've lost teachers, in addition to the fact that this is going to be with them for the rest of their lives. It's absolutely heartbreaking. So if you haven't heard, I'm going to go ahead and play news. I have to put up my banner though, really quick. Copyright. Allowances made for fair use or purchase, such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to play this. Hey, everybody, I see you're here. Exactly. These kids are about to be traumatized. This is tragic and keeps getting worse and worse. Dear God, exactly. Let me cue this up. Okay, guys, I'm going to share this with you.
We continue to track breaking news of the worst kind tonight, the kind of news we wish did not happen. But here we are with a rising death toll in a mass shooting at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. The Texas Department of Public Safety says they told him 18 children and 3 adults are dead. The 3 adults, the shooter, the shooter's grandmother, and a teacher. The shooter is also dead, killed by law enforcement responding to the call. The superintendent grieving with the community.
My heart was broken today. We're a small community, and we need your prayers to get us through this.
These schools serve students from second to fourth grade.
Yeah, real little children. Governor Abbott is ordering state resources to be used to investigate this shooting. It happened at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde. It's about 80 miles west of San Antonio.
Here's what we know right now. Police say an 18-year-old gunman went on a shooting rampage. The Texas governor identified the shooter as Salvador Ramos. He is from the area and died at the scene. The police department there releasing 2 brief statements today, still not giving a lot of information.
Once we're able to provide information to the families, we will do so. First and foremost, obviously, our priority is to get information to our families and give them some information. So please bear with us.
Police in Uvalde are saying the shooter acted alone. About 600 students attend Robb Elementary. The school year was set to end Thursday, but all classes have been canceled for the rest of the year.
And just a few minutes ago, President Biden speaking to the American people about this latest mass shooting. Here's what he said.
To lose a child.
Hey, so Deb,
What's going on?
I know you're a teacher.
Yeah.
So
this hits home. This hits home it's very close to me.
I want to say this really briefly because this is what triggered this video. I had a kid. We talk. I love children. Like I play with kids. They always think I'm their age. Like that's just what it is. And so he'd come home from school, and so I'm asking normal questions. What you did your homework? What color were you on? Were you green, yellow, red? And he was telling me they did a drill, and I'm thinking, a fire drill, and he was like, no, a shooting drill, and I was like, what is that? And he kept saying, shoot, and it didn't even dawn on me that kids in elementary school are now aware that there is a chance that they could be shot.
It's actually really sad. Like, I didn't talk about it today because honestly, I didn't want to be crying on YouTube, but I will say this. We have drills for this.
That's crazy.
And it's so crazy because it's a norm now. I have a student that's in my class right now where they're learning sentences, and a lot of them is about the gun in his mom's house. Every sentence is like, well, it's like I can't think of what like we're writing, but it's like my mom has a gun, or don't touch the gun, or something about the gun. Like everything is about the gun. But he's also like one of the problem kids in my school.
That's scary.
So
how old is the kid? Under 10?
I teach second grade.
So like 7, 8, maybe.
They're like 8, like 8, 9. But I mean, this is what we deal with every day. And this guy that we deal with, like he's like, he goes off the wall every day. I'm like, I just hope he doesn't bring the parents' gun to school when we deal with him.
That's really scary.
Or his grandmother's gun, or his dad's gun, or his mom's gun. Like, he writes about it every day. So when I heard this today, I was just like, it puts you in a place where it's like, is this job worth it? Is it really worth it? Like, I love my kids, like hands down. But is it worth risking my life to work there?
What's the general consensus with the other teachers?
A lot of them don't even know that he writes this stuff because I have like, Kaden, you can't write this or whatever. I talk to them about it, but they're like, oh, they know already. But I don't even let him turn in his work because I'm like, it's always about the gun at the house.
Well, I mean, are there counselors? Aren't you required to report this to the?
Not really. Like our school that we have right now, like there's a lot of problematic kids, and I'm calling problematic because of this situation by itself. there's a lot of problematic kids. But the thing is that they don't have any like um strategy about how to deal with it or anything. It's like they want to keep them there because the more kids are there, that's the more money they get.
Well, I mean, I'm in no way near in that field, but if I were you, just for your own safeguard, I would be documenting it and seeing if there's like
Every
a
every,
higher.
every time that, but documenting and then him actually doing this is very different because I can document it every day, but if he shows up with that gun at school, what's the document going to do?
No, I just meant documenting it and taking it to a higher authority. If the school isn't going to do anything, then
Right.
I would think that.
So I have a teacher at my school right now. There was a boy. He told the teacher that she's a FMB. They suspended her for 2 days
What
because
is an FMB?
she's a
Oh,
fucking.
okay, I got it.
Yeah.
He was cursing. Okay.
Yeah. So they suspended her because she said, "You're not gonna call me that." She repeated what he said. They suspended her for 2 days, but they still bring this boy back to our classroom. What people don't realize is that the school system is not very. They don't protect the teachers.
I can believe that.
And like we are working with public school kids because we're not in the public school, we're like in a charter public school. So I can just imagine what the public school teachers actually deal with. They don't protect you at all, though. And I hate to even talk about this like this, but like next year, the teachers that I work with right now, they're not going back to that school
Wow.
because they don't feel protected.
I know I've heard stories of teachers not being paid well, and then on top of that, people aren't buying their books and stuff.
They get paid,
Have you?
they get paid better than I get paid, but the thing is that they're not protected from these kids that could potentially do what just happened.
So, Dave, have you participated in these drills?
Absolutely, we have these drills.
I'm gonna show a quick video because
Okay.
I didn't know about these, and then if you would give some insight,
Okay.
because just watching the video of what the drill looks like, it would have my anxiety up as an adult. So I can't imagine.
Before you even show this, they moved my class to a class where it's isolated. So if there's a tornado or there's a shooting, you can't get into this classroom. That's how much they are working on not the kids that are in this classroom not being, killed. Like it's a serious situation.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and share this with you guys. Just FYI, it is a drill, but it's, I think, pretty eye-opening. Let's see.
And staff. There's an intruder in the building.
Students at Hancock Place Middle School demonstrate how they'll react if there's an active killer in their school.
If anything dangerous happens, I know exactly what to do.
We will actually simulate gunshots in the classroom.
This is one of the first districts in the area to prepare both educators and students ages pre-K through 12.
We would be remiss if we didn't include students.
We make each program different. It's all age appropriate.
But when we reached out and told parents we were going to do this, not one person in our community had any complaints.
Barricading the door is just part of the education.
We're prepared and we know what to do.
A company called Tier 1 Tactical Solutions, made up of police officers, shares this video showing students also learning first aid skills. Districts across the St. Louis area are also preparing school campuses. At Lindbergh High School, kids now go outside to other buildings for classes, making the campus an easy target for active shooters.
All research shows that students can't learn unless they feel safe.
So voters recently approved a proposal to connect all the buildings.
Have a single point of entry, which
Okay, I have another one as well. Let me stop That
Well,
one.
before you do that, so what we do with the guy that we have in our classroom who's very problematic is that
Mhm.
when he leaves out because he like kicks chairs, he flips shit over. We lock the door when he leaves, and then they also know that like they have to lay down on the ground because if he does start shooting, they want to make sure the kids are not like up while he's there. Because they don't kick the kids out of school. But I never seen this. I have seen at my school where they do lock the doors and they do put the kids on the ground and they're there for a long time until somebody like restricts the kid or contains the boy or girl who's like acting out.
So you really
This is a real drill.
you no, I mean I'm talking you personally.
Mhm.
You really do feel some trepidation going into work every day knowing that this boy has access to a gun and has
Absolutely.
behavioral issues
Absolutely.
and your school district won't do anything to.
So the teacher that I work with right now, she actually wrote HR because the principal wanted to keep the guy there at the school who was doing all the problematic stuff. She's now mad at her. But the reality is that this boy is dangerous, period. But she's mad at her because we've reported this boy like multiple times. Their job is the more students they have, the more money that they get. So they don't value the teachers or even the students, I would say, when it comes down to this stuff because they need the students and the teachers there. I came in as a substitute teacher and I literally been there as a assistant teacher from the time I got there. I had a whole full classroom. And then the week after that, I was a assistant teacher the entire time. There's no protection for teachers at all. There are kids that are very, very, very dangerous. And I'm being like I'm being very serious. There's some kids that are very dangerous. But the way that it works is like the more kids you have, the more money you get. As a substitute, I don't get any of those perks from that. The teachers that work there, they do get that, but it also doesn't really give them anything because these kids that are there that are problematic, they're dangerous. So what they do is, me as a substitute, I have to handle the problem kid. I have a boy that's in my class right now, like literally, it felt like I was in a wrestling match with him. Like I was sore when I left work. Um, I don't like the way that you have to handle him. Like he's strong as shit, and I'm the only male second grade teacher at my school. I don't know how these women even did it before me because he's strong as shit, but they let him come back to school like every day. His mom took him out. She withdrew him from the school. Then she let him come back like the next day. So this is a very serious situation. Like I don't know who will see this, but like if your kid is like in that kind of space, like they need more help than a lot of schools can give them.
That's a lot. I want to point out Amy J says she was out today and there was two young men that started shooting outside of her car.
Mm,
I just want to say I'm glad you're okay, Amy. I
me too.
can only imagine that has you shaken up. That really sorry that happened to you. But I'm glad that you're safe and that you weren't injured in the gunfire.
Yeah, me too.
I see there's some teachers in the chat who are sharing your sentiments. So Deb,
It's serious. Like people don't understand how serious that it is because honestly, like we have students that are in our schools who can't control themselves. And we risk our lives every single day. This is like one to the like being a police officer at this time. We risk our lives every day going into that school building because the guy I'm telling you about, he writes every day. Like if you say write a sentence about the park, he's like, my mom has a gun at the park. Or if you say, you know what's going on, there's a gun in my home. Or he always mentions the gun in his house, or there's a gun everywhere. So every day I check his book bag because I don't be like, oh, one day I forgot and then he brought the gun and he shot up the school. You know what I'm saying? It's very, very, very dangerous in these elementary schools right now. These are kids who have problems and you want to help them, but sometimes you just like you want to catch the problem before it actually happens. And with the little boy that I have, like they pick on him a lot. So I could see him and one day be like getting fed up and be like, I'm gonna shoot up everybody because they pick on him all the time. But I de-escalate that every day. I'm like, well, you know, the gun ain't the problem and the gun ain't the issue. Or what if your mom had like some pillow thinking they could take a nap? Like I try to change the narrative all the time.
That's what Morgan points out. Does your school have a behavioral interventionist?
All they have is a security guard, but he
This is
has
why I
actually
think that you need to go to a higher. I think you
no.
need to go higher.
So the teacher that I work with, she's done that. But prior to that, like it's always been like, well, y'all have to handle that. And so what we do is we report to the principal, but her job is to keep the kids in the school. So when we report them, she kind of punishes them, but then it's like, well, you're gonna go back to our classroom. We have a boy. That boy called me. He said, "You are F and B to my teacher that I work with." He told me F me in the cafeteria like he doesn't have any filters. His mom actually is on YouTube. And there's a lady that I don't know what her job is because she's not a principal or I don't know what her job is, but the kids are scared of her. But she was like, well, the next time he does this, just come to my office, I'll show you his mom on YouTube. I'm like, I don't want to see his mom on YouTube. What I want is for him to behave.
Wow. JC says she's been a school-based speech language pathologist for 14 years, and this year is one of the worst in terms of violence and socio-emotional skills, and it's only getting worse. I had no idea you guys were going through this.
But the reason why is because these kids have been in school for 2 years. We're dealing with kids who went from kindergarten to being homeschooled for 2 years. They don't know what being in school is like. So they come to school, they feel like it's a free for all, and there's no rules for them. And so like you have to talk them into like what they should do at school. The shit is dangerous. It's very dangerous. The little girl told me the other day her mom was at this school. We had field day on Friday, last Friday. And I was like, yo, I mean to sit down. She was like, I gotta sit down. I said, no, you like we're putting our heads down. It's quiet time. She said, I don't have to do any of that. Like they are like so rebellious. It's dangerous. And then the other boy who tears up the classroom, so he comes in and he's chasing the kids around the classroom. And you're like, yo, y'all gotta stop doing this. He's like, I'm gonna do nothing. His mom is in the hallway. So it's like you don't really have a lot of opportunity to fix it because the parents at home don't make them do anything.
So for you all that are just joining us, whew, so Deb was filling us in on some of the things that go on in his school that as a teacher he feels he has trepidation about. We're gonna watch a little bit more of what's going on in Uvalde. If you don't know, There was another mass shooting where 21 people have been pronounced dead. I believe 19 were kids and 2 were adults. So let me share this.
Last time I saw was like 15.
When I got off my live, when I went on my live, I heard there was a shooting, but when I got off, I saw there was 21, and I was like,
wow.
People are hurting.
But
Let's talk about it.
But Mims, it's so possible because even their drills, it don't protect nobody.
I mean, again, I said a little bit earlier, I didn't know kids were doing those drills.
Like, that's a protocol. Like, we have our tornado drills, our earthquake drills, we have our fire drills, but now it's the mass shooting drill right now. Like, it's a real thing in the schools.
Oh, Morgan said
so
19
sad.
kids, 3 adults, and himself. So now it's looking like
Wow.
a total of 23 people in this senseless killing.
Authorities say he was shot and killed by responding officers.
To the people of Uvalde, please know that this is a room full of leaders who grieve with you. And we are praying for you, and we stand with you.
Standing together like Chris Martinez, and families that are forever changed.
If it was my son or my daughter, I don't know.
A lot of what ifs and also a lot of questions. Families saying, I don't know. They want to know answers. And that's what they're searching for here in Uvalde. I'll send it back to you.
Xavier Walton walking us through this most difficult day and events. Thank you.
Aniele Ruiz is also in Uvalde tonight. Aniele, we understand some families still waiting to find out if their loved ones are among the victims.
That's right, guys. We're outside the Civic Center, and families actually rushed inside just a few minutes ago, hoping to find out those details. We know some families have been coming out crying, wailing, and I know that some of those families are probably finding the terrible news out that they always dreaded. And of course, we've been speaking to families all day here, wanting to get any kind of information on their loved ones. You know, the last time that they saw their kids was when they went to school this morning, and they never imagined that something like this would happen on the last week of school. But we did speak with one man, Jesse Rodriguez. He says he was looking for his daughter, Annabelle Guadalupe Rodriguez, 10-year-old third grader. He says Annabelle's cousin was killed, and he's just praying and hoping that his daughter wasn't among those who were tragically shot here today.
They didn't have a list for her name in here, so she's not here. So we're going to head on down Condo and then San Antonio to where we find her.
Not anything helpful?
No, I mean, I'll fill up the tank and I'll look all night if I have to. I got to find her.
I can't fathom taking a kid to the bus and then not knowing if you're going to get them back on the I mean, like, when you think last week of school, you think like fun, you think, just kind of playing games, getting ready for summer. The fact that 19 innocent kids were taken from their families, and now all of these children involved, their innocence has been taken.
But the thing is, Mims, they don't protect them from being bullied. They don't protect them from anything. So the kids get fed up. And I don't know I think the person who did this was like an adult, though, right?
Say that again.
The person who killed these kids was like an adult, right?
I think he was like, they said how old he was. He was definitely, I think, over 18.
Yeah. But he could have probably been from a place where he's been bullied his entire life. At school right now, like, there's so many restrictions from stopping the bullying and stopping the kids from being punished. It's like they just have a free-for-all.
He was 18. I mean, look, I don't want to speculate that he was bullied. He could be just an
I'm
evil
not, and that's
person.
this. So that's, let's say that's allegedly, but the thing is this: there's no protection for any kids right now in school, 18 to elementary school. There's no protection for them. They
It's only
don't.
18.
There's no program for that. There's no punishment for that. They can do whatever they want to do. Let's just say he went on there and did it on his own for no reason. Nobody can stop that. The thing is this: as a school teacher, there are so many. It's very problematic. Teachers don't even have rights to help kids who are being bullied.
Oh, he was still enrolled in high school. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the fix for it is. I personally get
There's no fix.
frustrated.
There's
Well,
no
I mean, there has to be a fix because not all countries deal with this, right? There's more shootings in the U.S. than school shootings, I should say, and these mass shootings than there are in other countries and on other whole continents. So there has to be a fix for it. What I don't like personally is when these things go very political right after it happens. Like, I think that this should be something that all political parties could get behind and figure out something so that we don't have little kids with masks on because there's a pandemic, or little kids who are having to go through shooting drills. This is crazy. It's crazy. So them.
It's crazy, but it's realistic though. But we have to have those drills.
I want. I mean, but I want to. I want to fix for. I want there to be a fix. I don't know how else to say it. I think there needs to be something in place
It starts at home. Because honestly, when the boy that's in my classroom right now who acts out, if he leaves, we lock our doors. Like literally, the doors are locked. When because he kicks everything. He tries to knock the door down, but we have to lock the doors.
Oh, there's a picture of the. There's a picture. I'm nervous to show this. Well, I mean, I think that we could all send prayers and well wishes to the family of these people that were affected. Um, Somebody said these were the victims, but let me verify that.
The boy in my school, he's 8. I see that Amy Joyce said that he's 8. And I'm the only person who can deal with him.
I don't think that's the victims. I don't think that's the victims.
No. That's what. Now she wasn't asking that. She had the kid at my school.
No, that picture. I think that was from
Oh.
another mass shooting. What were you saying?
You have to realize that these kids, like, they don't have boundaries at all. None of them do. I have girls in my classrooms. I have boys in my classroom. They have no boundaries. They talk about. There was a boy in my classroom like this week who said something about the R word to the girls in my room.
Oh wow! And you said these are like second graders?
They're second graders. They didn't suspend him. They just let him stay because they said he was saying.
Oh, this is.
But how does
this
he know
is
that
deep.
word?
I got robbed at gunpoint by 2 kids that couldn't be older than high schoolers. I'm so sorry that happened to you, JC. This feels heavy.
It's very heavy because I think now people can see what we go through as actual teachers because this is normal. Like this threat every day is very normal. You have no idea who's going to come in. Like I told you, like when we're writing sentences in my classroom, this boy talks about the guns that he has every day at his house. This is very normal. It's not they don't even flagging until he actually brings the gun to school. One of my really good students, he brought a fake gun to school. They suspended him for a whole week. But there's a boy literally writing saying that my grandmother and my mother has a gun, and every sentence that he makes, it talks about the gun.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't know. This. Let me take this off.
Hyundai Elantra versus Honda.
It's really sad.
For those of you guys who just joined, I want to show you what some of the kids have to go through. I shared a little bit of active shooter drills that kids have to go through. So Deb has also shared some of those as well that he's experienced. I had another one that I want to queue up here for you all. It just baffles my mind that elementary age kids are so aware that they are not safe. You know, like I wasn't thinking about that. We had fire drills and stuff like that at school, but I never thought, oh, you know, I'm in imminent danger of a fire. These kids feel like they're in imminent danger of somebody shooting them. Like, let me show you this video. This stuff will blow your mind.
Across America, the job description for teachers has changed. This is only a drill. He's holding a fake gun. Today, thousands of teachers are now required to participate in active shooter drills like this one.
I know it's a drill, but does it feel real?
It does, because you can't be with the mentality, it's just a training, nothing's gonna happen, because if not, you're not gonna put your effort in.
I'm not teaching you something out of a textbook. I'm teaching you something I actually lived through.
Former Deputy Sheriff Eric Frost runs a company that conducts safety trainings for mass shootings. He says he's busier than ever.
An active shooter situation is scary generally, because in this scenario, you didn't fight back, and what happened? He was able to shoot you guys, and that's it. In a scenario where you fight back, you have a chance to go home at the end of the day.
Hey, open the door! Open the door! I want to shoot this kid!
Every month at Casa de Niños in Yuma, Arizona, after the students go home, the teachers go through active shooter trainings. But this is a preschool with kids as young as 1 year old. Since Columbine, 16% of school shootings were placed where preschoolers and kindergartners were present. This is Jessica Acatara's 10th active shooter drill since August. She's been a teacher for 12 years.
Years ago, when you started doing this, did you ever think you'd be locking kids down and taking precautions for a potential shooter?
No, because back in the days when I grew up, I was in school. That's the safest place ever. So, and then all this happening, it's like, am I really safe in school?
No.
In the next drill, there's a twist. A student gunman.
No, stop! There's always that moment where, even though it's just a practice, it gets to you.
Each drill costs the school $1,000. A 2016 U.S. Government Accountability Report found 2/3 of school districts across the country conduct active shooter drills.
Outside.
The training is required by Sabrina Seal, the preschool's owner.
Very protective. Very, 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 very protective. We wear so many hats. We're a nurse. We're a teacher. We're a mom. Super cool. I like it.
And now you're security.
And that is totally put us in a different element that we were not prepared for.
We came back the next morning.
There are 4 and 5-year-olds in that classroom, and they don't know it yet, but at any moment, there's going to be a lockdown drill where the teachers have to apply what they learned to keep these kids safe.
But there won't be any guns, and the kids are told it's a game.
1, 2, 3. Over there, let's go.
why do you have to be so quiet?
Because a stranger might take you.
A stranger might take you?
We call it a stranger. We're not going to tell them, it can be, have a weapon and go to an extreme. We just put a name on it so they know.
Nice and quiet, huh? When you were crouched down with the kids, what was going through your mind?
My mind was blank. It was just to keep them safe, keep them quiet.
Are we teaching them at such a young age to be scared?
It's not quite teaching them. We're just keeping them safe. Because I don't want them to be afraid. I'm not going to lie. It can be, to the point that they question, like, why are we doing this? Or why do I need to be safe if this should be all safe? Okay, you guys did a fabulous job. Good job. High five. You guys were very quiet. You won it. High five.
How does that save these kids?
I was just saying, hey, Amy, thank you for joining us.
What's going on?
What's going on, Amy? Let me ask you this: how does that save those kids? What we just watched, how does that save those kids?
It looked like they were shooting each of the kids. That was kind of traumatic.
It was like this lay down on the ground. I mean, if you lay on the ground, they're going to shoot the ground. Like that doesn't change anything.
Yeah, it really
I
does.
do. I mean, just from me looking at it from my vantage point, if somebody is running through and shooting, and you have kids that are not standing up and in the way of bullets, I do think that would help somewhat.
But the example that they showed was the shooter actually coming into the room and shooting at them. We didn't see like an active shooter shooting in the hallway. The shooter came into the room with the kids. It doesn't help anything.
Do they know any more about the young man and why he chose that school? Is it like a connection, or is it like a random, this school is going to be the school today?
I haven't heard anything as of yet, but they did say that he was still in high school, 18 years old.
Yeah, I read something online, but they said that someone who knew him said that he was extremely quiet and he didn't talk much. So
that's not the ones who shoot up the schools.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay. So they're saying he was quiet. So he probably, was, shy and probably didn't interact with his peers very well. That's all I can think.
My thing is there are so many signs of these kids. Like I said, I have a kid in my school right now. Every time he writes a sentence about his gun at his mom's house or his grandmother's house, everybody has a gun. There are so many signs. And even when you report it, they don't even acknowledge that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is this a symptom of quarantine burnout? Because at one point I worked in the school system and I was thinking about going back, but then I kind of know the signs of crazy. So I got a call like literally 2 months before school's ending asking me to take the job immediately. And I said no, because I was like, I don't want to enter a classroom in this mid of the year. I want to start off from the beginning. So if I'm coming in, that means somebody left abruptly, and that's not a good stable environment to go in.
I've had 2 classrooms of kids who have been traumatized because they've had so many teachers because their teachers have left because of the pandemic. So you did right, because they hate new teachers coming in. Like they have breakdowns all the time, and they don't respect people the new people coming in at all. I have had a good experience because they were like, well, he's not leaving.
Yeah. I was worried because I was like, that's not a good sign if you want someone to come immediately. And then on top of that, like, you don't know what you're going into. You could be going into like the worst of the worst classroom where there's multiple children.
She just took over my old class. She did not know what she's walking to. She actually taught at KIPP schools before this. And we have had meetings and we have talks. She was like, when I teach at KIPP schools, I've never experienced it before. These kids are on a different level, and they don't have a program for like when I was at school, we had like the special kids class, and then we had our classes. These kids are in, like, they will drop them off at lunchtime, at recess time, at dismissal time, and they literally will tear your, I will say, they will really F your whole class up. They don't care about what's going on in the classroom because they are finally around other kids. It's a problem. But the school system doesn't give the teachers the protocol to do that because we already have the kids that we have in our classrooms who are doing acting a mess. But then when this kid comes in, like they turn it up on like 1,000. So it's a big issue.
Multiple people are saying the same thing I said in regards to that particular kid. It sounds like you feel you've hit a brick wall with the administration, but it sounds like you are really fearful of what could happen to you. There has to be some higher power or some higher authority in your school district.
We've been to HR. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's too much red tape. But I would say this: if you want to know how bad it is, just go into your YouTube search and put "I quit my teaching job." When I say it's thousands and thousands of videos of people saying why they quit.
Hear this though.
That's a YouTube thing?
Yeah, if you go in there, it's tons of teachers that talk about their experience in the school system and how much there's no
ask me to start a teaching channel. And I'm thinking about doing it because the teachers I work with, she's been to HR. And now the principal is treating her bad. This lady is one of the best teachers in this school, period. And the principal is not treating her bad because of this child who is like causing havoc at our school. Not only one, not only two, but three, not only three, but four of these students. She's one of the best teachers at the school. A lot of the kids love her because she's able to connect with their disabilities or while they can't handle things. And because of COVID, she's really working with them. So they like her. But when we have these four students that come in.
Yeah, that's the one I watched. That one right there. She talked about the school shooting.
Wow.
You see this? Tons of teachers telling you, they say it got too overwhelming. There was no sport in the classroom. Their children were emotional problems. Like you said.
I'm gonna start doing this then. I'm gonna start doing this.
Yeah, tons of teachers. And you see all these people saying, I was there. I had to leave too.
I quit multiple times. But you know what though? My thing is like I don't want to quit on my kids though.
No one wants to, but it's not the children that cause the quitting. It's everything.
I quit on all these videos. And I see what you're saying, but that's very interesting that I keep saying I quit. Literally like next year for this, because we're only off for like a month. No second grade teacher that I work with right now is coming back to the school. None of them. They're asking me, will I come back? And I'm like, I don't even know. The only reason I want to go back is because there's like a few students that want me to come back and I like love them. I'm actually going to be hanging with them during the summer break. But I don't even know if I want to go back as a teacher. I did not go to work on Monday or Tuesday today.
It's a burnout. And then the quarantine has made it far worse because, like you said, the kids who used to getting structure had no structure for 3 years, essentially. And then they were put back into a school that is demanding more from them for when they left. Because if you left in kindergarten, you're going to come back in fourth grade. Your teacher needs to sit down because they have to teach you these complicated fractions.
But you're going to come back as a kindergartner.
No, a lot. Well, I know the school system I was in, they promote kids based off their age. And those kids, because they have homeschooling. So the kids did the homeschooling from home. And they come back into the school, and it's the reason why I told the teacher. When they tried to call me to hire me, when I asked her, I was like, "What is the biggest problem right now?" And she was like, "It's an education gap. The kids who left in kindergarten are now in fourth grade, and they don't know how to read." And she was like, "On top of that,
listen. So we're dealing with kindergartners who are in the second grade." Who never functioned through the first or they went from preschool to kindergarten to the first grade to the second grade. They have been in school the entire time. So they act like the kindergartners or the preschoolers.
Yes, and she was saying that their biggest goal was just getting the kids used to structure and sitting in class. It was not even if they can learn this and
It's
learn that.
hard though.
It's just, could we make sure they can have a normal day where they have some level of instruction, but for the most part, you're just kind of managing poor behavior. And I
And
was
they,
like, no, I'll
but
pass.
the thing is
That's
that
stressful.
they cannot. They can't. We have tried and tried and tried and tried. These kids, like I have a girl in my class right now. She's so smart. She cannot sit down and save her life. You're like, blah blah blah. Sit down. She will sit down for like 1 second, get up, and she will walk out of the room, back in the room, all around the room. I have another student where she feels like she owns the room. I have another kid who he just will rip the classroom apart like he don't care about nothing. And it's because because of COVID, they're not used to being in the classroom. We're living with kids who came from kindergarten to second grade. They cannot function in this classroom at all. And it's so sad because the ones that are doing it, they're very smart. They know a lot. And like if you tell them to do their work, they want to do it. But if you tell them to help somebody else, they can tell them to do all the work.
I think they have some more stats on active shooters. Hold on 1 second. We're going to share this. Well, this is not my normal content.
This is a good conversation though.
No, definitely. I appreciate you all for being here to have it. Let's see.
Active shootings are on the rise, up more than 50% this year compared to last year. Investigative reporter Sean Mercedes taking a closer look at that report tonight. Cheryl?
When this annual report details 61 mass shootings that happened last year, and according to the data, Texas and Georgia had the second most behind California with 5 incidents in each state.
This FBI report detailed how 2021 saw the highest number of deaths since 2017. 103 people were killed, 140 people wounded in 61 active shootings in 30 states last year. 32 active shooter incidents happened in areas the FBI referred to as commerce environments, like grocery stores and manufacturing sites. 19 happened in open spaces, like highways and public parks. 3 happened on government property, 2 at schools. The report also highlights the time of day the shootings took place. The data shows an active shooting is more likely to happen between 6 a.m. and 5:59 p.m., with most of them happening in the middle of the day. The agency also released stats on the shooters. Last year, all but 1 were male. 18 were between the ages of 25 and 34. 24 fell in the 19 to 24 age group. 2 of the shooters were 18 or younger.
The report also uncovers what happened to the shooters. Nearly half were apprehended, 19 were killed, and 1 is still at large. And in all 61 incidents, the FBI says the gunman acted alone. Mia?
One is still at large.
You know why though, right?
No.
There's no protection.
No, why to which part? So they're
why these kids are coming to school and doing this. They get bullied at school and there's no protection for them. Like there's no like program or something that stops that. It's like, well, these kids are gonna be kids. These kids are traumatized. You don't know what's going to get home. And then they come to school and get it done. So they take it out on the kids at school because it's not my parents. So these kids are really I've heard this out of my own kid's mouth about, and while he wants to do it and talking him off of a ledge. So this comes from these kids not having like any protection at school. Nobody stop, like when they're getting bullied, they're like, yo, just start talking about him doing this, or just don't do this no more. Like they don't have any serious consequences. So then when little Johnny comes to school with the gun, it's too late.
So for those of you who are just joining us, so Deb actually works as a teacher. I think he has like the second grade,
Yeah.
and so he has some insight into what goes on, not only as a teacher, but when you have some concerns about a child and you feel the administration is not backing you. And I believe Amy did also mention she has some experience
Yeah, I
teaching.
worked in the school system for a short period of time when I was younger, and that was one of the things that I was in school for education. But what made me leave was once you get into those environments, you realize it has nothing to do with the kids in the classroom, because
Yeah.
you can be in a classroom and do everything possible to make it safe
Yep.
and cool, but when you don't have a supportive administrative staff, you are living in communities where there are like your teachers are now turned into social workers. And what I
Mhm.
mean by that, like you have to then become like the human resource, like like the human services, making sure these people get their stamps and all the rest of that stuff. And then you
Yep.
have kids that are coming to school that haven't eaten, they're not bathed, they're not all those types of things. And when you start speaking up or trying to do any type of minimal change, you feel this big wrath come and shoot you down. And then you just feel depleted and you realize like you can continue going, but that whole theory of like being, dangerous minds, that one teacher comes in and changes the whole, that doesn't happen. If you're the odd man out, you're just going to be out. If you're not with the program, because some programs are like a certain way and that's how they are and they run that way. So you're fighting a bigger system and it's stressful. You might have one teacher that rolls with you and you guys are doing the same thing together, but
Mhm.
that's very rare. Most people just don't want to buck the system. And that's one of the things that I experience. Like you can have people that have good intentions, but if you possibly can get fired and lose your job, you're going to go with the fray. And a lot of the people are not really concerned about those kids. So
And I can piggyback off what you're saying because again, the teacher that I work with right now, this boy called her a F and B, and she said, "You cannot call me a F and B." They suspended her for 2 days.
yeah, as I said, I've seen far worse. Like, I have seen teachers like undercut another teacher, like
Mhm.
bring a parent up there to fight a teacher
Yep.
based off of just jealousy. Maybe the teacher is getting more kids are liking this one teacher, and then you have a parent that doesn't really know what's going on, but
Well,
they'll
then,
listen to somebody else. It's just drama.
but
And then
you
on
know,
top of that, you ain't even got to the kids' most education part.
but you know what the bigger problem is this. So when she wrote HR, she still has to deal with the people in that building.
Yes, and that's when it
And
really
then
comes
it
down.
becomes really unfair because it's like, well, we try to support you, and luckily I'm like her assistant in the classroom, so I know that little we had field day on Friday, and the boy's mom who did that said that the boy came in the classroom, so she told him to get out, and she slammed the door in the mom's face. I said that never even happened, but because I was there to vouch for her, she was vindicated. But before that, they would have believed that.
Yeah. That's what I said. It's far more stuff that's moving pieces that are not in the classroom directly dealing with children. And
Yeah.
then you have teachers that will spend money out their own pockets, will give because they don't have any a budget for their classroom. Like
Yeah.
some places you go, they'll give you probably like a $500 budget to buy
Mhm.
supplies and things like that.
Oh, we
But
don't get
you have
that. We don't get
snacks if you're with the younger kids. I've
that.
been in classrooms where like the teacher will be eating their food and the kids have no snack. And they'd be like, well, their parents didn't bring them.
Wait,
So
the teacher was eating the kids' food?
no, the teacher
They'll
was
eat
eating
their
their
own food.
own
Oh,
food.
I was
Like
like, wait,
they got some curry out, right? Like the curry out special fried
right.
rice and chicken and the rest of the stuff. It's
But you know what?
smelling.
They eat
It's
those
the
hot.
aroma in the classroom, and the kids did not have any snacks because the parents couldn't afford it. But they literally were eating the food in the kids' face. It was like, well, you next time tell your mama to bring something. And I would be like, damn, y'all
These
just
kids right
behind.
now, they're eating these Takis.
Yeah, I'm talking about like that's the stuff I saw.
Yeah.
Like I literally saw teachers would sit there, like the teachers who completely like have conformed to the program, sit
Mhm.
there, eat food in kids' face, smelling delicious food. And
Oh
many of
no,
these
at my
kids have
school,
not
like
had anything and wouldn't give them a snack. And they'd be like, oh well.
oh no, at my school, they get snacks at the end of the day every day.
No, that's what I said. Like it's those type of things. If your
No,
person
no,
is
I,
doing the
I I
work,
heard what you were saying. I'm just saying, like our kids, they do get snacks at the end of the day.
yeah, I get what you're saying. But I'm
Actually,
saying,
like
like,
there's more than enough. So some of them because we know that they don't have food at home. We give them the extra snacks.
Yeah. For me, it's one of those situations like that's not even the tip of the iceberg. And then dealing, like you said, with a family that has like issues. You said a child was talking about a gun in the house.
I
I
mean,
read people talk about
every single sentence that he writes is about a gun in the house, and I'm like, yo, his name is Caden. I'm like, yo, can we write a different type of sentence? He's like, well, I mean, this is he's like, there was I think of what the words were, but everything that he wrote, it was like, yo, my mom has a gun in the house. If I feel scared, I'll get my mom's gun. It's like everything's about this gun, and I'm like, I told the teacher that works for me and the principal, I said, he keeps talking about this gun. This is actually my most problematic kid though in my classroom.
Mhm.
And if he and he also fights with the kids in the room. So if he feels like something's going on, what's to stop him from bringing his gun to the school?
And that has happened.
Like there's nothing. And so like I keep saying this because I'm like, I don't want there to be a day where we're in the classroom where he brings his gun and we're all this done. So please address this. The teacher that I work with does the same thing because she knows the problems that could come from him and they don't do anything. Again, they suspended her because he called her F&B. But when he writes sentences about guns and stuff, they're just like, oh, he's just a kid.
That's not, you gotta
And
take
that don't work because they're risking everybody's life.
I can't understand why there's not higher authorities. Like I feel like in those kind of circumstances, if
that's why she wrote HR though,
if the
she wrote
kid has
HR
access
because
to a gun,
she wrote HR because the school wasn't doing anything.
Well,
So
no, not the school. So Deb, I mean, there has to be checks and balances in place in every school system, in every
but what
every
I'm saying
business.
was that she wrote HR. HR had to check the principal, but the principal is now taking her frustration out on the teacher.
Yes, because if
Like,
the teacher is contacting HR,
yeah.
the principal gets in trouble. So it's
So
like
it makes it even a worse situation.
Well, I'm not talking HR. I'm talking there has to be some type of access that you have that you can maybe anonymously submit whatever proof or evidence you have, something like a CPS, something outside of the school system if you feel that the school system has failed you.
I think that's where
There's no anonymous anything for you to write about that.
Yeah, there's no only reason because I've experienced like just think about your worst possible job and think about the structure that was going on and how unprofessional everything was. And then put children in it and then put teachers in it and then put parents in it and just put it up in a big gumbo. And that it's no other way to explain it until you're literally there and you see it for yourself.
Yeah.
It's so complicated because it's friendships, it's boundaries, it's control. It's
What about a union? Nikki had a good point.
I think that I don't know if the teachers have a union where I'm at because I'm a substitute, which came into like I'm like the assistant teacher at this point because every teacher has quit during COVID. They don't want to be around the kids. But the thing is this though, even if there's not a union, if there's a kid coming in every day talking about guns, something should be done. Like it's clear. Like something should be done. This boy is dangerous, and he's also the one who tears up your classroom. He's the one who comes in and like literally, if he has to do something he don't want to do, like he will fight the kids in your room, and you're reporting this to the principal, and they're like, well, you know, he just had a bad day. He's having a bad day like every day though. Like they don't care. So by the time he brings a gun to the school, it's like, well, we've been reporting him. Like, what could we have possibly done? And so for the kids in the classroom, like they are already petrified of this boy. Like they already know what the school shootings look like. Like you don't have to tell them about the they already know. And so when it comes down to it, they're like, well, you know, Miss DeLay or Miss Reed, like, I don't know what to do when it comes down to him, like, because, you know, I don't bother him, but they also know about the school shootings. Like the kids are very aware. But then it's like, well, we report him to the principal, and then he's back in the room like an hour later, or tomorrow he comes back, whatever. Like they don't really punish him, or they don't take him out of the room, or move him, or put him in a special class. They bring him right back, like in a few minutes or hours later.
Yeah.
And then when he decides to shoot up the school, it's like, oh, everybody's so sad, but like you've had so many warnings. He writes about guns every day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know at this point. So
I was going to
I feel
answer.
like you feel like, you know, there is no reprieve for you.
There's
But
nothing.
I was going to answer Nikki's
You
question about
literally
you.
walk into the school and just hope you walk out alive the next day. I walk in, and to be honest, I walk in every day thinking that like I could not come back out here in the morning.
What were you
But
saying, Amy?
I love
I
my
was going to
kids.
answer the question about the teachers union. Like, do you belong to a union? It
Mhm.
depends on the union's power, because a lot of cities, especially because it's a new neoliberal structure, they have taken the air out of the unions. So as much as you have union lawyers that can fight for your job, but get in line. And a lot of the unions' relationship with the government, they have restructured those contracts where people can still be fired. So it depends on how powerful your union is. Like I've heard, like in New York and New Jersey, they have amazing unions. But then you go down south in places where it's a little bit more, mixture. The unions are not as like in place. You'll have union leaders like in Baltimore. Just example, one of the union leaders in Baltimore, she was embezzling. So that's your leader, right? She was embezzling. No, I think it was Detroit. She was embezzling. They caught her, and she embezzled almost like $1 million, right?
Wow.
And she was getting free tickets to like the Detroit Pistons games and the airbox. She pretty much like abandoned her responsibility as a president of the union, right? So that's your leader who's probably not going to do anything for you. She's enjoying the perks of her job of basically doing side deals with all these other people that are pretty much like don't give teachers anything. And if it comes down to even like the best lawyers, they kind of like do deals in the background. It's very political. That's what I'm saying. Like
That's very true. That's very true.
I've seen two teachers unions that became public. One in DC. That woman, before she passed away, she had brought furs, jewelry, diamonds, and she was embezzling for almost 10 years, right? And she was the president of the teachers union. But the teachers at the time was complaining about how they were not getting support. They were fighting their own battles. They had to hire their own lawyers to fight things such as like Devin saying, protection in the classroom, or even more so at maintaining, like resources. Like, could I get money for my classroom?
Because even if you have
fired.
a union, that doesn't cover everything.
Well, I think they were just offering. I think
the
they were
union
offering
covers your
you.
pay for a lot of times. It covers your pay and like this, like the basic stuff, because they don't want to be overworked, but it doesn't cover if the kid is saying, "Yo, my mom has a gun," and gun. Like, it doesn't
I think that the union is there for your protection.
Yeah, the union is there for your protection,
for
but
your hourly work. Because as a flight attendant, I went through that whole thing for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to.
It depends on they are there for your they can't overwork you. It doesn't protect you from what actually happens in your work day. So like if the schools that I'm working for, if the teachers start doing like a union, it doesn't protect you from if my student Kaden says, "Yo, my mom has a gun and there's a gun." That's not a part of the union. It's about they can't overwork you, or they cannot make you do work that you're not qualified for. It's specific to the point of your actual job. But when it comes to like stuff that's outside of that, that doesn't cover that.
Yeah, well, for me, when I was talking about the union,
unless you put it in there.
Yeah, the unions I've like read about, like the one the most egregious situation was in Detroit, where she had box tickets in the Detroit basketball. Straight, the Pistons. She had box seats that she would bring her friends to. She pretty much made it where like any type of grievance a teacher had, there wasn't really much that they can go to their union for, not even for a lawyer. Like if they sign a contract, they negotiate their partnership with the state and the unions. Like the teachers say, this is what we need to maintain our jobs and make sure we're safe. And the state says, this is what we require of you. And it kind of comes to a middle. But you have people literally going to their union and saying, hey, these things are going off my school. This against the union's rules. I need you to stick up for me. And the union's pretty much like, we got your dues. And at the end of the day,
I mean, there's strength in numbers.
yeah. So that's the thing. So you have people, and then you have a union leader who's literally in bed with these people and who's doing whatever she wants them to do, and she's living her life. And she can really care less about a teacher because you can just replace them. That's how a lot of people think. That's
But
why I said it depends on how
it depends
powerful.
on the union and what y'all all agreed on. Because when you're going through that, because when I was that flight attendant, we started this thing to try to get a union thing. Everybody has to agree on what the union is going to protect you from. So if it wasn't like the kid bringing a gun to school, then that's not a part with they're not covered for that. That's your own personal problem.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to include all those things. So if you have a union, whatever y'all talked about, they are very specific about the thing that they're going to protect you from.
Exactly. Menzie Ken said the bottom line, we got the wrong people in power. That's exactly what happens. And once you get into those environments, you realize it and you say you can be the best teacher in the world, but if you don't have that team of support, you're just basically swimming in the same space. You know what I'm saying? Like you're putting all your energy, you're swimming, but you're still stuck in one space. And you're actually drowning at this point.
Yeah, and I will say that the lady that I work with, her name is Miss
Really
Reed.
quickly. Hold on, really quick. Hold on 1 second. April says, how can parents help their children during this time? What proactive steps should families take to prevent a family member from conducting a mass shooting? Well, first off, if you have, hold on 1 second. If you have access, if your children have access to a gun, that would be step one. Yeah, I mean, if you can legally own a gun, make sure that your guns are locked away and you are within all of the perimeters that you have to be in for your state. That's one thing. If you don't have access to the weapon, you can't shoot people.
No, that's not it, Mims. That's not it.
So if they have access to you're saying if you don't have access to a gun, you can still shoot people?
First of all, these kids should not even know that the parent has a gun in the house. But the first thing they should start doing is help your kid learn that you're going to school to learn. These kids cannot read, write, do math, none of this. These kids are like, I'm not being rude, they're ignorant. But they don't know how to do anything.
Well, no.
If they're not using a gun versus knowing how to count money.
No, this boy that just did this was already a high school graduate. He could read, he could write, and he still.
Yeah, they're talking about parents that have children like this boy. They're not talking about parents who have just have a failed whole household. And in this situation, when you are a parent actively looking to trying to make sure your kid is good, I think checking in on them, checking in on their mental health, talking with them regularly, seeing where they're at. Even if you have to snoop on them, go online and do a history search of what they're looking at. Because they said
just because their parent has education and stuff, it doesn't mean the kids do though.
No, I'm talking
about
this
what she said. She said that you need to be active in your kid's life. Find out.
That's what I was saying, though. That's what I was saying.
No, I'm saying like basically you need to be like, if that means you going behind your child and looking through his online searches and seeing how he's communicating with people,
which every parent
what his interests are, and basically really keying in on those little things. Like I remember I was watching that interview with Jada Pinkett and the mother who said her daughter committed suicide. She was like, her daughter was a high functioning depressant. So she would certain things that you see a person run around smiling happy all the time and they are performing for you. You really don't know how they're feeling. But if you see certain signs like a person withdrawing from interacting with people, going out, talking, doing social things that they do for their regular age, them spending more time online researching guns and all those types of things, that boy was doing that. And his family dropped the ball because they didn't know that he was doing that. Same thing with the boy who ran up in the church
The
to
church.
the tops, and shot up that whole spot. His family was like, "Oh, he was suffering from COVID depression." But I was like, at the end of the day, you have to be actively on top of your children, especially if you know they have the
You have to
propensity of
be.
doing something like that.
You have to be.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be like, okay, we got guns in his house, and we notice he ain't coming out of the room, or he ain't been talking lately, or he's basically been kind of getting wrapped up into these online groups that are a bunch of incels. You got to pay attention to stuff like that.
The thing is that these parents don't know what their kids are doing. And that's real talk. They have no idea what their kids are doing. I had a girl in my school, we had field day on Friday. She came in talking all cash money crap to me. Her mother was at school, and I recorded her. I was like, and I showed her mom. I said, "Do you know your daughter talks like this?" She's like, "I had no idea." I said, "This is all we call you every week." A lot of these parents don't know what their kids are doing at school. So let's talk about it. Not a parent is not active in their kid's life. These kids are running rampant and doing what they want to do. It's our jobs to mold them and to make them into like respectable adults. But a lot of times you cannot, because they don't have respect for the adults that are around them, whether it's their parents or the teachers that are around them. So they do what they want to do, and then as a teacher, you suffer from that.
That's true. I'll say that it is
Because
true.
the parents don't. Some of these parents do not care. It's like, I'll send them to school to babysit them, not for them to learn. It's to babysit them, so I don't have to be around them because I gotta go work today, whatever. But there are parents who do, they're very active in their kids' life, but there are a lot of kids who their parents are sending to school for babysitting purposes, period. And it shows. And then, you get them, and like, there's a lot of kids that I have right now where I know their parents are like that. That's why I parent them. I'm like, I have like 5 kids right now. Like, they're getting out of school on Thursday. I will be with them through the entire summer, because I know their parents are not going to do it. And they're smart. They're very educated, but I want them to not like fall in the spectrum of Black men or Black women who fall into bullshit. So I said, I gave them my phone number. I talked to their parents. I will be with my students during the summertime, because I don't want to see them, because I know how they are right now at school. I don't want to see them getting arrested or and being problematic for other things. So I'm taking my own time out. I'm not getting paid for any of that, but I'm taking my own time out to hang with them during the summertime to make sure that they're going to be good, to teach them morals and values of life. Because the last thing was for my little Black guy, who I love to see every week and every day, to fall down a spectrum of the police, and you're in jail all the time. I specifically chose the kids that I deal with, because when I got there were a lot of kids that they did not want to do anything. I chose those kids and I taught them. They work with me every day, and what people could not teach them, I have been able to excel them in a lot of different things. So I feel like spending time with them during the summertime will just keep them going in the direction.
All right, guys, we're gonna have to close out here soon, because this is way past my bedtime. But I thought it was important to come on and have this
It was.
conversation, because there were so many people with like differing opinions and who felt it impacted them. So many people have kids, and you see this kind of stuff, and you're thinking, "Is my kid safe?" And when I spent time in Iraq. I was not a soldier. I worked for the army, and what they said was, with these people, whether it's a terrorist or a domestic terrorist in your backyard, they win when you do simple, innocuous things and you think in the back of your mind, this could be my last day. I might get attacked. So the fact that so many parents feel this way, and now kids are feeling this way when they just go to school, just something as normal as going to school, the terrorist wins. And
Yeah.
as of right now, we don't have anything to combat this. Hey, Autumn's mom.
What we can do, Mills, though, is start speaking up about it and like making it a thing, because there are a lot of kids who feel like they cannot. And dealing with them, like as an adult, I have kids who like they cling to me, they work with me every day because they feel like I protect them. So as an adult, like you can, like y'all not teachers, you're not in the school system, but y'all might be uncles, aunts, fathers, mothers. But speaking life into your kid and like really letting them know like who they are helps a lot, because when they come to school and they meet somebody like me, I just add on to that. And there's a lot of teachers who do that, but it starts at home. There's a lot of kids at home. It's just like nothing happens. They don't have any kind of structure. They don't have nothing. They get to school and like that's the best time they ever get in life. Because when they're home, they're like a slave. Clean up, do this, do this. They get beat. Like there's a lot of stuff that goes on at home that when they get to school, sometimes you want them to have a free time. But you have to know what kid has that and what doesn't. I think as being a teacher, like you get to know the kids of what kind of like the strategy of what they have going on at home. But I think that, I love what you're saying, but it's also difficult because you have to know how to support every type of kid that is going through different type of things, because some of them it's just like I just want to hug somebody. Sometimes it's like I just want to leave my house and not have to be like working a job where I'm not getting paid. Like I just want to be a kid. Like there's so many different dynamics, and we are as adults who can do it, because I volunteer all the time. We have opportunities to do that stuff, but we have to be very conscious about the kids that are doing things. Because when I shooting happened, I said, "Was it a kid?" Because I know that they get bullied at school all the time. And I'm glad it's not at a school that I'm at, but I also understand these kids have no protection. The principal don't help, the school teacher don't help, the mom, the dad, the cousin, whoever's protecting them, they don't help them. And so they get fed up and then they do this. As a adult, we have opportunity to stop this.
Autumn's mom, do you want to jump in? Because you came just as we were closing out. Did you have some thoughts you wanted to share?
I'll make this quick. I literally, I don't know, I think I've been under a rock today because I've been so busy with other stuff. I didn't even know this happened. I came home, turned the TV on, and of course, you pop up on my recommendeds. And I'm like, what? Huh? What's going on? And then after I saw your headline, I went and looked at some news clip headlines and was like, not again. It instantly took me back to, so Deb, I think the last time I was on your show, I shared with you that I used to be a teacher and I got out of that field and I literally left. My last year teaching was the year that Columbine happened. And I remember
You told
rolling
me
the
that.
TV, yeah, rolling the TV in when it happened. And it was just like a flashback just this evening, like, here we go again. So I was sitting back listening to everybody and your suggestions, this, that, and the third. I think the problem is so complex because, so Deb, I get where you're coming from. It sounds to me like you teach in more of like an inner city school where the challenges are different and you have a whole different host of problems and situations.
Mhm.
But not that those situations aren't as important, but I will say this. Those do not seem to be the ones bringing the guns to school and doing these mass shootings that we've seen as of
Yes,
late.
yes, they are, Autumn's mom. That's what
Okay,
I'm
wait.
saying.
No, 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 no. I'm not talking about stabbings. I'm
Mhm.
not talking about violence. What I'm talking about is mass shootings, like today.
No,
That's
what
what
I'm
I,
saying is that I have a student who talks about a gun every day. He's
right.
got
You told me that the last
yeah.
time that we were on. But as of yet, they have for one thing, let me say this. For my experience, put it like this. I think I've shared with some of you guys some of my past experiences. And for me, because I've been through things in my life, and I know I'm not the monolith for everybody, but for me, I think that most people, when you go through tough times in your life, you're used to dealing with tough times. You're used to handling, not saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent, but that becomes your theme song. That's what you go through. It's not like a shock to your system when you have a bad day or this, that, and the third. But for other people, when things out of the ordinary happen for them, i.e., think about it, let's take it to adults and offer kids for a second. When the stock market fell and people that were used to having a whole bunch of money all of a sudden lost everything, they were the one taking leaps off of bridges. We weren't the ones taking leaps off of bridges because we knew the struggle. We knew that if we had it once, we could get it again, and not having it, we can survive. And it might be a struggle. We might not want to do it, but we will survive. We have a different mindset, a different way of thinking. So, with that
Let me
being
say,
said,
April. I mean, I'm going to say one thing to support Debonair. Today, I was in my car and literally two young men. It was a shootout right in front of me, and I literally had to duck down. And although it's not a mass shooting, it starts at the school building. That's what Debonair is
Mhm.
talking about: the bullying, the
And I
aggression,
think,
someone
and
talking about their gun, and then it progresses to a point where people just don't feel safe. And for me, watching what I saw today was so devastating because literally it was like in a blink of a second, it just became turned into chaos. And you have a kid in his class is saying every day, I got a gun, I got a gun. And he's aggressively beating kids up. He's inflicting fear
but
in
it,
those kids.
but to just add on what you're saying, like this boy, he's like such an amazing guy. Like I love this boy to death, but it's like I'm scared every day I go to work because I know that there's a gun that's accessible to him.
Mm.
And he talks about it all the time. And I'm like, Kaden, like, I don't, let's talk about something else. But they bother him so much. His temper is like off the wall. And like, I don't want him to come to school and do something that like he has to spend the rest of his life in jail because he brought a gun to school.
so let me ask you a question, and this is truly a question because maybe because I've been out of school for a while, I don't know what's going on so much in every school system across America. So I really want to know this. Okay, when I went to school, I remember we didn't have metal detectors in the school, this, that, and the third. Then I remember the first
We don't have
time
one
I
here.
ever went anywhere, which was a movie theater, and there was a um a metal detector there. The first thing that crossed my mind was, well, I don't need to come to this movie theater anymore. So, so with that being said, I'm under the impression, and forgive me for my ignorance,
Mhm.
that in a lot of say inner city schools, are there not metal detectors? And
We
then
don't have
I'm
any.
thinking,
We
you
don't
You
okay?
still can get
He's
things
in
in.
elementary
That's something I
school,
experienced when I
right?
was in school. You still can get
No.
things in. And if somebody
No, no, I'm
wants
not
you,
saying that you can't, because
But
I know you can't.
that's
But I'm
what
just saying,
that's
are
that's
there?
what that's what scares me because honestly, me, the security guard that's at the school, we the one who deal with this boy every day. And one thing I learned that he's ticklish. So when he starts acting up, I tickle him. he normally calms down, but there's days where like he's so gone, like you just can't. And like, man,
Yeah.
I
It's okay,
hate
so
it.
Deb.
I hate it because he's such a good guy. Like, I love this dude. Like,
Because you can see him going down the wrong path and you want to stop him.
I don't want nothing bad to happen to him, and he doesn't have the people around him to help him. And I hate that. It's like
Yeah, that's the reason why I couldn't stop. Well, how can you say that?
everybody, like we've all been in black families. We've seen bad stuff, but like he's a really good.
But so, Deb, this is what I tried to tell you before. Keep doing what you're doing because you can make the difference. You hear the stories of most prominent people that
But
they
the thing
have that
is that
one
the
teacher
thing
or
is
two
this.
teachers they remember that helped them out, that they always felt a safe place with, that they knew that they can go to if they had an issue. And
Mm.
it doesn't take the whole school to be there for them. It doesn't take the whole
It doesn't.
neighborhood
But
for
the
them.
thing is,
But when you
there's gonna
see
be a.
somebody
But
falling
listen,
and
listen,
nobody's
listen.
helping them get up, that's
But
what it's
listen,
the pain he's
there's
seeing.
gonna be a day where I can't be around.
Okay, but you're there today. Worry about
I
today.
know that
Don't
part,
worry about tomorrow.
but there's gonna be a day where I can't be there, and there's been days I cannot be there. Like this boy is so intelligent, he's so smart, and I love him. Like I don't want him to have that day where like when he gets there, like I'm not there, and then like he goes to jail or whatever because he's gonna be an adult one day.
Yeah.
I can't stop that. And his family don't help him. The school's not helping him. Like I'm the person that's doing it, and I can't be there every day. And like
Yeah, it's
it
taking a
hurts.
toll
Me.
on
Like
you.
it really bothers me because like he's such a really good guy. Like
But
I can like
so,
I'm
Deb, I
trying to express
remember.
this, like it's making me sad, but like I want him to have everything that he should have, but I can't be there every day. I can't stop him from doing the stuff that he's doing. I can only be there the days that I'm there around him.
Yeah, you want to protect
And
him because you know what's happening.
I hate that because I'm like, I want to be there every time like you're going through stuff because I don't want him to have bad days like that. Like I want to be around me where I can help him. And I can't be there every day.
But I'm gonna be honest with you, Dad. Listening to you, you're at a burnout because you can do so much, but it's now it's taking your health, your health at this point because you're watching this person go through it. And like you said, this is the reason why I step back. You see all this going on, and you see people not care, and you're trying to protect the child that you see that's struggling. He has good sides to him,
And he doesn't have anybody. Like that's a
and
thing.
that's
Like
usually how it is in
he
the
don't
inner
have
city.
nobody. And it's like I'm there at the school and he has me, but when I'm gone, like he doesn't have anybody.
Yeah.
Well,
Like
I'm not going to tell you to
I
step
hate doing
back.
it. I hate doing this, but like he doesn't have anybody to protect him or to
And
help
you see
him
yourself in him
or
too.
nothing.
That's
It's
another
me.
thing.
Like I'm the person he comes to when he's at school, and like his family don't do it. Like nobody does it. And wait, but I'm not around him. Like, he don't have nobody.
But so, Deb,
And
okay,
then
let me tell you this.
I was like,
Yeah, I was about to say.
Are there counselors there for you?
Yeah, I was about to
It
say.
gets
Yeah.
Mims. It gets to this point when you truly care and you want to fix things and step in, and you are now becoming a social worker. Who's going to be your social
Well,
worker?
yeah,
Because you're
that's
going to
the
be
point that
broken
I'm
at the end
making.
of it all.
That's
Right,
what
but
I'm
it's
it's
the
not
saying.
about
same as.
me. It's about the fact that
No, well, no. So, Deb, it has to at some point be about you
it's
because
not
this
about me
child
because
will move
I
on
have
to another grade.
yes, I have
And
people around me to help me. But this little boy has nobody.
And
Like
that's what
nobody's
hurts.
helping him. Nobody has his back but me. And so when he goes to summer break, like I have to hope that when he comes back, like he's okay. Nobody has him. It's me. And so it's like I literally had wrote his parents like, yo, during the summertime, can he come hang out with me? Whatever, because I'm sorry for crying on your live. But I
no,
hate
you're
this
absolutely
because
fine.
It's
So, Deb,
real.
I
That's real
want
right
to
there.
protect him. I want to hold him every day. I'll make sure he's good because ain't nobody doing it but me.
But so, Deb, you literally are expressing what parents, someone that has literally given birth your child feels every day for your own child. So what you're feeling is not abnormal. It's just that you're feeling is for another human being that you didn't create, which is admirable. But outside of that, what I know that from watching you, I know that you're a spiritual person. And the one thing that I can remind you is something that was told to me before. We are all servants of God, okay? And with that being said, if you don't believe in God, this isn't for you. But if you believe in what I'm saying, this is for you. As a servant of God, sometimes we are there to plant the seed, sometimes we are there just to water the seed, okay? But we are not there to garden the whole field. I'm not going to tell you to pull back. Do as much as you can when you can. But just know that God did not create that child and he put you in this child's life. And although you and from what you're seeing feel as though you're the only one that can do, God is going to make sure that all his needs are taken care of and he's not going to be forsaken, okay? Because even if you can't do it in that moment, he's going to make sure someone else steps in to do it for them. So you don't have to carry that whole entire burden on your back.
Or
Well,
even better, let me say this. I
But I-
have memories. I might have not had good situations in my life, but one of the things that would push me going was situations like the relationship you have with that young boy. I would think of a teacher, maybe I didn't get to spend a lot of time with, but I had a good relationship
But
with.
when he comes to you and says, "Well, you're the only person who ever cared about me," like
Yes.
that's where I think I come in. Like I'm like, that's hard for me to hear. Like he's like, nobody ever cared about me, and then I see his family situation, and I'm like, I probably am the only person who really did. Like it's hard for me, like to just be like, oh, it's summer break. Like what happens during the summer break? Like y'all, it's hard for me because I get so attached. And like, I really didn't even want to do this today. Like, I'm so sorry, ma'am, for doing this on your channel. But like during summer break, I'm concerned because
So let me ask you a question. Why can't
I
you
don't
keep
want him to
in
go home.
contact with him during summer break?
Wait, what I'm saying? No, I don't want him to go home and don't have nobody. Like,
Okay, this is what I'm
this
asking you.
boy has said
Why
to me
can't you
multiple
keep
times,
in
like,
contact with him
when
during
I'm at
summer
school,
break?
but wait, listen,
Maybe he doesn't have access
when
to
I'm
him
at
because it's
school
not by
with
his
him,
his family.
wait, hear what I'm saying? When I'm at school, he's acting out. I'm the person that calms him down. I'm like his go-to person. They're like, yo, he's acting up. Take him to so that like they take him to me every time. And when he comes to me, like he is good, he's calm. Like I don't have an issue with him. But I have a month and a half where he's not with me, and he's already said to me like, at home is not good for him. And
So
I
why
gotta be away
can't you
from him
keep
at
in
this
contact
time.
with him during summer break?
I want him to be good though. And
Why
so
can't you keep in
it
contact with him during summer
scares,
break?
listen, but it scares me for him not to be around me because if they can handle him at the school and his parents can handle him, like what happens when I'm not around him? Like that bothers me for real. Like I love my kids. I love all my kids. I have 3 of them.
So,
And
Deb, you
he's
did
one
say
of
you
them.
wrote a letter, right? You wrote a letter to the parents. What
Yeah.
did they respond?
They told me that he could come hang out with me. But I don't know like it's gonna be when he wants to or they want to. You know what I'm saying? Like
Long
I
as
don't
you
know
have
that.
contact with them, and even a phone call was just do. He probably just happy to hear your voice. My thing is this: it's like you have to set boundaries for yourself. The only reason I said this because I was one of those people who were very empathic. I would feel people's pain, but what I found was like I would be in a house destroyed, and at the end of the day, the person is still living and they're still breathing and they're still eating. I'm not saying that everybody survives, but I'm saying like she said, God's not going to send somebody here and not have like, especially if it's a child like that. The fact that you were in his life shows that God is protecting this child. So hopefully he'll be okay, but you got to also take care of yourself because you could be in shambles and that's just not good.
I
And
just
so,
think that
I have one
I just
question
think
for
that
them.
there's a big difference when it comes to me and him because it's hard. It's really hard for people to deal with him when it comes to me and him, like we have a really good relationship.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, like we're going the whole break, his parents don't deal with him very well. The teachers don't deal with him very well. Like it's me, you know what I'm saying? I take that on like as a real responsibility.
So
And I
Deb,
want to make sure that like I don't want him during the summertime to like be neglected, nothing like that. Like for me, like
so
I feel
why
like he's
can't
like
you
my kid.
communicate with him during the summertime?
He
Huh?
said
I'm
he
confused.
is. He said
He
the
is.
parents
He
gave him
said
permission.
his family is a
Right, but
little
he said that the
shaky.
parents said he can.
Yeah, they
So
just said
if the
that they can't.
parents said that you can,
But even
and
even
you have the
even in
time
the
to,
time that he's not there with me, like I am concerned. Like
But
y'all
okay,
have no
so
idea. Y'all have no
this
idea.
is
Y'all have no idea like what is like for real. And like
this is the problem. I'm sorry, so Deb, you know me. I'm very direct. I don't know
Mm.
how else not to be. So at this moment, we can all see that you really care about this kid. Part of your profession is to be a teacher. What happens when you have five? Hold on, hear me out. What happens next year, next semester, when you
when I
have
have more,
five versions of this
right?
kid that you care about? I think that it's admirable that you are pouring so much life into this kid. However, you've told me that you have a support system, but it feels like you are very empathic, and it is, for lack of a better term, like draining you.
It
I know.
is. I know it.
I actually have a few kids who I'm gonna be with the summertime, but this specific kid
But
is different for
are
me.
you hearing my question, Deb?
No, I hear what you said. It's like I
How do you
can't.
protect yourself when you have multiple of these great kids
I
who are
don't
in
know. I don't
similar
know. I
situations?
So my answer is this: I have a lot of kids like that. This specific kid is very different from me. Now, I don't know in the future if I will have more kids like this, but this specific kid is like my baby for me. Like I don't like he has a lot of issues that when he's with me, like he just deals good with me. And for me, like I want him to be the best. And so it kind of hurts me because I'm like, well, it's summertime coming. I can't be with him every day. Like I'm here with him Monday through Friday right now. When summertime happens, like who knows what it is that we're going to have with.
Mm.
I have other kids that I'm still dealing with during the summertime, which I'm good with. But this one kid, like, he just means everything in the world to me. And he doesn't have like family support. And these people that raise him, like they not really doing it for him. And I really want to be there with him. Like I would take him to my house.
okay,
That's
Mm.
you can't
all.
take him to your house on a regular basis.
I
But
would
my
let him live
question,
with me and adopt him. Like that's
I was about
That
to
is
say,
a
it seems
that
like
is
you want to do a little bit a different path.
because
But what you can do
he
in
deserves
your
so much
wheelhouse,
more.
okay,
And
but let's stick
I
within
think
your
that when I
wheelhouse.
started doing this, give me 1 second. I think when I took this job, I didn't realize that I would meet kids who needed somebody.
mm.
This boy needs some, and the fact that I'm able to like really work with him, and it hurts because I really want to like just take him, like just give him to me. Period. His parents, and they not watching this. They don't want him, and I would love to just have him with me, so that he has somebody who loves him and wants to be around him. I hate the fact how they treat him.
So,
Mm.
so Deb, this is what I'm trying to say. Because I think we all don't watch different things and we see how teachers stepped in. And I'm not saying that you should go forward any kind of process to try to take this child from him. What I'm
Yeah.
trying to say to you is within your wheelhouse, how many extra hours a day do you have to devote to this kid that
I
you
would give him
actually
every hour, every minute, every second
okay,
of my
so
day.
okay, so with that being said, then that shouldn't move you to tears. That should be joyful for you to say, okay, well, that's why I keep saying, what's stopping you from still
Nothing.
doing what you're doing? Because it doesn't seem like your hands are tied in any aspect. You already have the parents' approval to
Good.
go ahead and spend time with this child outside of the confines of the
I think
school building.
I
So
think
with that,
I
hmm?
think my worry is when he's not with me because
Okay,
they,
but
they
don't worry
told
about
me.
that.
And that has
Worry
everything to
about
do
what
with
you
your
can do.
anxiety.
Don't worry about what you can't
I hear
do.
what you're saying. I do hear what you're saying. But it's like for me, it's like every second he's not with me, like I'm concerned, like he's my kid, because he's treating me like I'm his, like he calls me dad at work.
Oh, that's so horrible. And I
So
think to
Okay,
me,
you
that
might
shows
need to
that
get
he's
a
looking
little bit
for.
of help
I
so
feel like
that,
it shows
and
how
I'm
you
saying
love
that
the
with the
child.
old, wait, Amy, for 1 second. I'm saying this with the utmost respect because I know you're coming from a pure place.
mm,
But now I have to just talk to you one on one from an ex teacher to a present teacher, and also as an adult, and also as a parent to someone else.
mm.
You sound like you are too, and it sounds bad what I'm about to say, too invested. You're going to have to step back for a second because all my questions that I was asking you was leading to the fact of
But he's not
what
gonna
you
learn nothing
actually,
though.
but wait, what you actually can do.
Mhm.
And what you can do, there's so much that you still can do that still would make sure that this child is okay.
Mm.
But in
Oh,
your mind, it's
she's
still
right. What
not
about your
enough.
will?
Huh?
What's in your wheelhouse? Like she's absolutely right. There are things like there are summer programs if he's lower income
But
that
he's
Mm.
not gonna learn anything. That's my thing. It's like when it comes to the school stuff, like if I don't do it, he doesn't learn nothing.
but you're
That's
It's
not
why
going to
you.
me.
be there
Like
next.
That's why
You're
you
not
say
I'm
going to
the
be
one
there
who
next
knows how
year
to
though.
deal
So
with it.
Deb,
Hear what I'm saying though. Hear what I'm saying. If it doesn't, if it's not me, I'm pretty sure there's someone else who can do it. I agree with you guys. But when it's down to me, I'm like, yo, let's read this. I'll read this part. You read this part. It feels like they pressure him into doing that by himself. So I know how to work with him.
Yeah.
And like
Mm.
the thing is, it's like, damn, I keep hating him crying. But like when I got there, like they was like, oh, well, you just watch him, right? But when I got there, like he really started excelling at school.
Mm.
And so like I just took a real big liking to him. And like he's learning so much more. He started making better grades, like everything. So like
Mm.
I just took him with and maybe it's like my project. I don't know.
Okay, let me just say
But
one thing. Let me say
I
one
just
thing.
feel like
So Devin here.
I don't want him. I want him to excel because he has so much, but like nobody can really do anything with him but me. And so I want him to learn and excel in life, period. And I hate that, like, I'm so, like, I didn't even come over here to do this, Mims. I'm so sorry.
no,
But
this is what this
I,
is about. I
yeah,
sit
No,
up
I just
there.
wanted to share one thing, and the only reason I'm saying it is because I had the same experience, but it was with my own family.
I'm sorry.
I had my sister passed away.
Don't apologize. So
Just
this
explain
is
something. My sister.
what this is. This is what we're here for. I feel like you are imparting
Yeah,
on us
We're all
what you go
family,
through
so
as a
that we're here
yeah.
teacher.
to help
That's
you
what I said.
help
Like, let me
them.
just explain this one thing. And the reason I'm saying this because it really helped me at the end of it all. My sister passed away. She had a son. He was like 5 years old. My other sister, who she wasn't speaking to, I have 4 sisters. 3 sisters, there's 4 of us. My other sister took custody of him. I didn't agree with it because I knew her parenting style. And I was like fighting for this child, right?
Yeah.
And to the point that when I would see that my one sister who took custody of the child wasn't like taking him to do reading lessons and taking him to soccer practice and stuff. Because I'm one of those people, I'm taking him to soccer practice, I'm gonna do this, do that. But what it did was cause a wedge between me and my sister because she became resentful because she looked at it like I was judging her. But more so me, I kept thinking if he doesn't get this, if I don't do it, it's not gonna get done. But what I realized is that the more I pushed and the more I pushed and the more I fought and the more it got to a point that I was physically sick because I was in so much worry and anxiety about protecting my nephew, to the point that I woke up one morning and was like, you know what? This child, if ever a situation, he knows I'm here. I'm not going to fight with a sibling, my sister, and cause a wedge with me and her to a point that she really doesn't want me around this child. I have to let her be in control. He knows where I am. If he wants to come looking for me at a certain age, he'll find me. And but this is for my own mental health, because at the end of the day, when you're anxiety and worrying so much, it tears you up. And you may think that the child needs you, but they have a whole bunch of slew of people who are sees the same, have
But
same idea.
that's not his story. I'm telling you that he doesn't have anybody. Like, I'm his everybody. I know that part. Like, his family has said that. So I know that for me. And so that's why I asked for the summertime for me to spend time with him, because I want to take him out of his environment and be with me, because we can work together. We can do something
Let me
together.
give you an
Like,
example. He's gonna say
this boy literally has nobody, y'all. Like, I'm being dead ass serious. He has no one.
So definitely, I'm just trying to give you an example. Let's say the
No, I
parents.
know.
Let me just ask you something. This happened to me. Let's say the parents see you doing so well, and the child's turning around and has well behavior and reading and writing, and then they become envious and jealous that you did that for them, and they no longer want you around their child. What would that do to you?
I would be happy that I was able to help him to learn to read and write, because right now he doesn't know how to do any of that.
No, but you also know these parents still don't do anything for the child. They just don't want you around their child.
I can't control that part, but why?
No, so Deb, let me say this to you.
While I do have time to do it, I want to do it. Like,
no, I'm trying to say that's what happens when you get, like I'm saying, for you.
I know
I can see your anxiety growing, and that's the thing. The devil is real, and what I mean by that, a person can see you caring about a child and get envious that child connects with you and want to destroy it.
I know that.
Can I say this, though, Deb?
Amy,
Let me
I know
explain
that, but my
something
thing
to you.
is while I do have the time to do it, while they are okay with me doing it, like, let me do it though.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, but I'm trying to say,
if it changes, I'm okay with that part.
No, for me,
but
I'm
right
saying,
now,
like,
while I do have the time to do it, like, I need him to, like, he doesn't know he can't read basic stuff until I'm with him. Like, he reads well with me. Like, we take time. Like, my thing is, it's like, this is a black man. He's gonna be a full black adult at some point.
Yeah.
We don't have like, nobody really be taking a lot of time for us. I've been through this before. My dad was on drugs when I was growing up, so I get it. But like, this is like a lot for me, because he don't listen to nobody but me, and I want to make sure that he has everything until they take it away from him from me. And
So, Deb, let me say this to you.
that's why it makes me emotional, because I want him to have everything while he can have it until they take it away from him.
I received that.
Okay.
I mean, at this point, I received
So,
that.
Deb, I receive everything that you just said, but let me explain this. Not but, because but negates everything I said prior to this. Let me say this. Just keep this in mind when you're doing this, because I think I already said I'm a perfectionist, and I am a proponent of doing the most, doing all that you can do until you can't do no more. So I get where you're coming from. Let me just say this, that even as a parent, there's only 24 hours in a day.
Right.
You cannot spend all 24 hours with your child.
I know
Okay. So even if this was your child, and say you got your wish, let's just wave the magic wand and you got your wish, and this child came and lived with you. Okay, there would be time when this child is not going to be able to spend with you. And you're gonna have to allow this child to be in someone else's care, and allow this child to be under someone else's
I'm
supervision
good
and
with that,
other
though.
things.
I'm good with that. I'm good with
Okay.
that.
So with that being said, that's why I originally said to you, what is it that you want to do that you feel as though you can't? Because listen, I've I've been the person where I've gone to my teachers' houses on the weekends. I've gone to my teachers' houses, during the week. And not because I was quote unquote a project or whatever. It was just we were doing stuff for different activities, and we just was cool like that. And it just so happened.
What I know is my strength with this boy. and like
Mhm.
nobody has been able to do it but me.
Okay, so that's what I'm
So,
asking. So what do you feel as though your hands are being tied from doing during the summertime that you want to do that you feel as though you're not going to be able to do? That's my question.
what I do know is this is that sometimes the parents are okay and then sometimes they're not. So what I got to do with him is like I have to like make sure that I please them and him as well, or at least me, not him, because I just want to make sure like while the summer because he's going back to the second grade next year,
Oh my God.
and he shouldn't go back to the second grade because he knows enough to go to the third grade because nobody spent time with him. He's going to be in second grade again next year. And nobody spent time with him because when he starts acting when he starts kicking the lockers and start acting the fool, now he's going back to the second grade. When I got with him, I was like, I learned different techniques with him, like, oh, just take him a little bit, he okay, like whatever. Like I learned a lot of things about him. Nobody took the time to do that.
I
Okay,
mean,
so
I
my
said I
thing is,
receive everything.
so say right now, 8 hours out of the day is the amount of time that you're spending with him. During the summertime, how many hours during the day would you be able to spend with him? I'm trying to
I would spend
get an
every
idea of what your limitations you feel are going to go down to the during the summer versus what you're already doing.
I would
So
spend every second of the day of the
I'm
summer.
not talking about what you would do. I'm asking you as far as what you are now doing, what you feel as though come the next month, what's going to change.
I would really do. I would quit all this stuff to do this with him.
That's an admirable thing to do.
Like to me, it's more important for him to grow up and learn things because right now he doesn't feel like he can even read.
Okay, okay.
And I
Let me
want to make sure
reiterate the
that, like,
question again.
but I
What
know
I'm saying to you, what do you? Okay, okay. Say there's 8 hours in the day. How many hours is he in your classroom
for
right now, today?
8 hours.
Okay, so he's in your classroom for 8 hours.
Yeah.
So right now, you feel sufficient with what you're doing. So for 8 hours, you have him out of the day. So come the first day of summer, how many hours during the course of that first summertime day would you be able to now spend with him that's now going to change from the 8 hours that you're used to spending with him?
Every minute I needed to. Like if you need,
Okay,
I
I
would be
see
there
the
the
disconnect.
entire
Hold
time.
on, because guys, we're gonna have to. I literally have a 5 a.m. I see the
Yeah.
disconnect between what you guys are saying. Autumn's mom is actually looking for logistics, so
Right.
Deb is not going to give that tonight. He
Yeah.
just was sharing his feelings to let us know where he's at with this kid. For those of you guys who just entered, so Deb is a teacher. He's gotten really close to one of his students that people, for lack of a better term, considered a problem child. And so Deb is the one in his school who is effectively able to assist this child. If possible, with the parents and hopefully the school, if they agreed to allow so Deb to be some form of a mentor, I think that would be great because you obviously do care about the kid. And you care about him excelling. Uh, we will need to close. So
Yeah. All I
Thank
wanted to
you.
say,
I'm
I
not
was
I'm
trying
going
to
to say
keep under
thank you,
this
members,
entire
for
I just
that.
time.
want to say one thing, and then I'm going to end off. I received everything you said. So did Devonair. I just want you to make sure put your mental health as a priority as well as a young man. Thank you.
Right. And Mims, I'm gonna close that as well. So Deb, I'm gonna try to come on your channel and reach out to you. But what Mims was saying was correct. I'm a numbers person. You tell me a problem, I can give you a solution. So once I get a better understanding of what you feel as though you are not going to be able to do, I can help you come up with a solution to be able to do it or come at least close to doing it so that you can sleep better at night. That was where I was trying to get to.
And I have mad respect for you, so I got you.
Mm-hmm.
hey,
I was
Callie,
just saying
you
that
came at the tail end.
I think for me it's like I don't have limitations of what I would do. I would do everything for him.
No, I get
But
that. I get
I
what
do
you
see
would
what you're
want to
saying. Like
do.
there's going to be a
Right.
limitation at some point. So I get you. I get what you're
I
saying.
just want you to be able to sleep at night, and I wanted to just know what that would entail in order for you to feel better, to feel as though he was in a safe environment so that you could rest your head at night. Because I know what that's like being an empath and trying to make sure that he's okay. I just am a
And that's
problem
all I
solver. I
want.
want to
That's
make
all I
sure
want.
that you're okay.
And that's all I want for him to be okay.
Right.
And like what I've seen, and I haven't seen that yet. So
Yeah.
when it comes to me, like I feel like he's okay. So I was
I'll help
really
you
mean to
get to
for
where
that.
you need to be. I'm gonna reach out to you. I'll help you get to where you need to be.
Yes, I said, like, I received everything he said. I just said make mental health a priority just as much as that young boy.
Absolutely. Because like I said, I was saying earlier, I'm concerned about you as well. But I know you're not concerned about you. And you won't be concerned about you until you have a plan for him. So I'm gonna
Right.
help you get a plan for him, and then I'm gonna help you get a plan for you, and then everybody's gonna be okay.
And I'm sorry, Mills, for doing this over here because I really wasn't trying to. But
Stop
this is
apologizing.
this is such a
Mims, that
subject
should be
for
a
me.
lesson to you. Stay on Housewives drama, okay?
But it is such a touchy subject for me because I love my kids, and there's some kids like I want them from their parents to just like take them up until next school year so I can at least make sure they're okay. And there's a few kids like I'm just like I just want to take you home with me for real. Like
We just need you to, honest to God, so that we need you to also keep your own self-care as a priority.
not
Your
even worried
own
about me.
mental health. You
Right.
need to be worried about you
I
because
know,
in
I
that
know, I know.
profession, just
I
from what
know.
we've heard, there's going to be a ton of kids who
I
have
know.
similar stories. And if
Mhm.
you're taking a little piece of yourself and giving it so fully to somebody, you just have to make sure you're doing that and maintaining your own health.
Self-care
Callie,
is the
you want to
most
close us
important
out
thing.
because we are way past my bedtime.
I
Oh,
know, me
oh
too.
no, I just wanted to say that from the perspective of somebody who was that kid, I had a lot and still do a lot of difficulty writing. I found out I was dyslexic like in my early 20s because it was very hard to detect because I could read, but I could barely write. I had a teacher that was very influential in my life. She made a huge difference, and she was not able to do all of those things over the summer and all of that stuff. But I still remember that lady, and I still remember everything that she taught me to this day. And one of the most important things she taught me is to think independently and not to follow others and always be a leader and not a follower. And I never forgot that lady. So, what I wanted to say is that you've already made a difference, even though you feel like you should do so much more. Trust me, what you have already done has probably changed his life
I know it is.
because that lady definitely, I mean, I will never forget that lady. And she was my fifth grade teacher. And she even though she wasn't able to fix all my problems and cure all
Right.
of my academic issues, she really encouraged me and just, gave me what I needed to just be very determined and keep going, you know?
Yeah.
So even what you have already done, I promise you, it has already changed his life.
Yeah. The fact that you would sit with him and read with him. You probably never
Exactly.
said that. That's like, as I said, I already know he's
Like y'all,
experienced.
he reads so good now. Like that's my thing. Like
Mhm.
there's so much I just feel like I want to do with him, but I know I can't do everything. I do understand that part, but I just want to do everything, and I know I cannot do it, but I want to.
Mhm.
I'm sorry for doing this. Like I
No,
really
but I think that was a good place that we're gonna need to close out. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Sorry, man. You ran your.
no. Thank you guys. So, Deb, thank you for feeling comfortable enough to share with us. Let's start there. Um,
Thank you.
Amy, Autumn, Callie, thank you guys as always. It's appreciated. Amy, wherever you were, don't go back there. We don't. If they're shooting, get the hell out. Uh,
Yeah.
guys, We gotta go. Thank you so much for everybody who came in. Just simply, you got a wrench tonight. So thank you guys.
Oh, just simply is really good.
All right,
Thanks,
bye
Sam.
everybody.
Have a good night. Bye
Bye,
bye.
guys.
Bye.